welcome to the Reteno channel. In this video, we'll show you how to set up the SDK for Android mobile devices. Let's start the integration. Importing the SDK into the Android project and creating the application class. First, switch the project's display to Project. Find the settings.gradle file and ensure that you have the Maven Central repository that serves as a central location for storing and distributing Java libraries and dependencies. If not, add it. Next, go to the gradle.properties file. It must contain useAndroidX, true, and enable Jetafire true configuration settings to manage dependencies and libraries. After that, go to the main module and find the build Gradle file. The Android block should have compile option settings that allow you to use Java 1.8 code in your project. Now, you can add our Reteno SDK. To do this, write implementation com.reteno.cm and specify the latest SDK version. Also, add Firebase messaging and Firebase messaging KTX to make SDK work with Kotlin. Synchronize the project. Let's initialize the Reteno SDK. Go to the application class, which will implement the Reteno application interface. If it doesn't exist, create it. It must inherit from the application class. After implementing this interface, you need to implement its getRetenoInstance method, which we will return to later. First, let's create a variable in which our instance Reteno will be stored. Then, you will return it using this method. But it isn't created yet, so override onCreate. Here, create the Reteno instance. This will be the Reteno implementation, where pass import application, pass this, and your key, which you need to get in your Reteno personal account. For the My Application class to work, go to the Android manifest and add it to the application block. My Application. Also add post notification permission to manifest file. The next step is to configure a permission request. Starting with Android 13, it is necessary to support runtime permissions. That is, explicitly ask the user whether they allow sending them messages. To do this, create the check permission function to check whether your app has permission to push notifications. If it has, nothing additional needs to be done. If it hasn't, check whether the user has already refused to receive notifications. If the user has already refused, inform them that notifications are blocked and offer to allow them. Let's add two buttons, Cancel, which will do nothing, and Go to Settings, which will redirect the user to the app settings. To do this, create the intent with the application. Details, Settings, Action. Add the new task flag so that it opens in a new window. Since you need the settings of the specific app to open, put the package key there. The value will be the app's package name. Start the activity with this intent. If you have not yet asked the user for permission to receive notifications, create a permission launcher to start the request process. Register for activity, result, request permission. You will get a Boolean here indicating whether you got permission or not. Launch this launcher for the post notifications permission. The studio specifies that the context can be null, so wrap the permission request in the let block. It will only work if the context isn't null. Now ask permission from the user. This is where you will get the answer. This block works when there is no permission. You asked for it and got the result. If permission was given, tell Reteno that the permission status needs to be updated. For this, take an instance of the Reteno library. This is done with activity, application context, cast it to my application, and call its getRetenoInstance method. Indicate to Reteno, update push permission status. This completes the permission setup. Let's configure the Firebase console. Go to the build.gradle file in your main module, find the application ID and copy it. Next, go to the Firebase console, click Add App, select Android, paste the application ID in the Android package name, and register the app. Now download googleservices.json and put it in the main application module. Go to the studio, take what you downloaded, and transfer it to the main module. A window will appear with the information that you are adding googleservices.json. Click Next in it. Go to the studio, add the following line to the root Gradle file. Find root Gradle file and insert copied line here. Next, copy Google Services plugin line from Firebase console and add it to build Gradle file in your app main module. Let's connect an app in the Reteno admin. Go to your account settings and in the Mob Push tab, click Connect Mobile App. Enter an app name. Next, select Android, and on the iOS tab, select No. Now, fill in the Firebase key. Go to Firebase Settings, Service Accounts, and generate a key. Please note, a lost key cannot be recovered. Return to the Reteno account, upload the key file, and click Next. Everything is ready. We have connected an app in Reteno. Now copy the access key and go to the studio where initialized Reteno, my application file, and add the key. Registering user and message testing. First, create a test user to send a test message. Register the user when they are logged into the app, or you can do it at the app's start if they are already logged in before. Let's do it at the start of the app. Create register user function, cast application context to either my application or Reteno application, and get Reteno instance from it. Set user attributes, and specify some user ID. Create the user and transfer their attributes. For example, the first name is tutorial and the last name is user. Call this method at the app's start. Check whether you have permission after clicking the button. This can be done at the app's start, but it is worth informing the user why they should grant permission. We will do it just by clicking on a button. The app has started and the user has already registered. We did it right here in the code. Now click on Check Notifications Permission, grant permission. After requesting notifications, return to the Reteno admin, go to the Messages section, create a new mob push, enter the name that will be displayed, and add the text. It is not necessary to add a picture. Click Test. Ensure the app you want is selected and select the user you created to send the message to. Click Send. The test message's delivered notification will appear. On the right, you will see the sent message. Everything works. We have successfully integrated the app with the Reteno SDK.